Hello and welcome to Circe Creek. Our mission is to empower you to create. This video will show you step by step how to make this charming fall scarecrow wreath from our complete kit. So let's get building.
So the first thing you want to do is unpack your box and lay all of your flowers and leaves and everything out according to the element that they are. So group things together so that they're easily accessible and you can find all of one element that there is. This is the scarecrow that we'll be using. I hope you love that, I do. So the first thing you need to do is to pick the pretty part of your wreath. If you'll notice, this wreath and most wreaths that you buy at the store are not perfectly round. In fact, they're really obnoxiously oblong. This one looks more like an egg than a round. So what you need to do is pick the top part of it. The wreath will be exposing the top part of the wreath from about 10 o'clock until about 3 o'clock. So you want to choose the prettiest part of the wreath. And I have picked this part right here. You can see it from right there to be the pretty part of the wreath. I like that the best. The rest of it being such an odd shape really isn't going to matter because you'll be covering it with other elements. So again, we're going to be filling this part of the wreath and leaving this top part exposed. I printed out a clock here so that you could kind of see. On this wreath, we fill it up from about 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. So just make sure that this part of your wreath is the pretty part and the nice round part. I'm gonna leave this in place so you can kind of see, but of course you won't have one of these, and it's not important to have one as long as you remember that we're going to fill it up from here to here. For everything we do, the way to build it is that you first lay things where you want them. Then after that, when you're sure that they're where you want them, then you glue each stem into place. And you use your glue gun and your hot glue, and you cover the stem, the end of the stem, with hot glue. Then with hot glue all over it, I don't have glue on this one because I don't want to glue it in right now. With hot glue on it, before it dries, you tuck it in so that it gets as much contact with the vines and the twigs as possible so that it is secure. So that's how you glue each thing in. First, we place things where they belong. We start with foundation leaves and plants. So our foundation ones are this long one here. You just have one of these, and these right here. We start by putting this with the tip of the leaves just past the 10 o'clock position. So I want it right there. These others go down at the bottom, and we just spread these out so that they cover the area sparsely. They don't cover it thickly, of course, because these are just the beginnings, but I cover them, I put them about like this, so that there's 4 leaves on here. Now, I like the way that is, so now I'll use my glue gun and glue each stem in where I want it. Try to put it in the same place as you had it before, but if it's not exactly the same place, that's okay. Just have it close. Okay, so we've got those in where we want them. The next thing we put in is the ginkgo. Gives it another layer of leaf in between the top and the bottom. You have 3 of these. I would just put them like this so that now you have kind of a full group of leaves all the way from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock. I like where those are, so now I glue them in place and I stuff them into their spot. Remember to stuff them in firmly. And after the glue has cooled, you can tug on it to make sure that it's where you want it. There we go. That's where I want it. And I'm going to tug on it. It's secure. The glue is holding. Yep, I feel good about that. Okay. The next thing we put the scarecrow in its place. We don't glue it in right now though, but everything we do after this is built around the scarecrow. So we put the scarecrow in among the leaves. She or he, whatever you'd like, is just nestled in among the leaves, and you kind of place her where you'd like her to be. I kind of like her here with her foot cocked up, and she's just lounging right there with her face a little forward and her arms sticking out. I kind of like it like that. So place her where you want her to be. The next thing you put in are the sunflowers, and the sunflowers go one at her bottom. I'm calling it a her. I hope you're okay with that. One right at her bottom, one down by her feet, and one up here by her shoulder. And then we also put the leaves that go with the sunflower in behind the sunflowers, because that's how sunflowers and leaves grow together. They don't grow separately. Most plants don't. So you put them there. I like them there, so now I'm going to secure them in place with my glue and glue the leaf in and stuff it back in there so that it's secure. Again with this, putting it in, and the leaf. And finally, I want the leaf actually to be right out here, sticking straight out of the bottom. And then this sunflower. Okay, so the very next thing we do is to put in the various fall leaves. You have two of these bright red ones. I want to put the red ones right at the base of these last ginkgo ones, and one kind of at the top by her hat. Then these two large ones, one is, on my kit anyway, one is orange and one is green. What we want to do with these fall leaves is make sure that we are alternating colors, because if you have too many of the same color all together, the different leaves and things just kind of blend in and you don't get enough variety. You also want to make sure that things are nestled in against each other, because if any one thing is sticking out too far, it just looks out of place. So I put that there. Then these other fall leaves, we have some oak here. All three of these are oak. You may get maple in yours. Oh, there's a maple. Okay. So again, we just place them where we'd like them, trying to alternate colors and textures and kinds of leaves. The fullness, now you want the fullness to be kind of at the bottom. You want it to be larger here and then build up here, because it actually balances out for the eye. Okay, I like the leaves where I have them, so now I'm going to remove them, put glue on, and reinsert them where I like them. And it is an extra step, but it prevents you from putting things where you really don't want them, and have to tear them out when you change your mind. So take the extra step and place them before you glue them. So the leaves in their place now. I just have two more to place. And make sure you're pulling back the other leaves as you do this. And you can kind of pull things around and tip them around so that they're where you like them. And replace the Scarecrow, because she's going to get out of her spot all the time. Okay. Now that's sticking out a little. There we go. I want this ginkgo to be a little further back in. So what I'm going to do is put a bunch of glue right down here by the stem and actually push another leaf over the top of it, and that will actually glue it into the place that I want it. There's two more elements. One is berries and the last one is acorns. The berries, again, you poke them in random but regular intervals around your wreath. I want a green one up here to be in front of these red leaves, because I think it would make the green really pop if it was like that. I want another green one down here by these red leaves, because I love these green berries. I want them to show. Then these orangey berries, I'm going to put one right up here to kind of finish the top, one up at the top here, and I want one right in here. I like that. Okay, so again, this time I'm not going to pull them out because the berries, the little styrofoam berries often pop off and then you don't have as many berries. So I'm going to leave it right there, put a bunch of glue down here at the base, and then stick it down in. So instead of pulling them out, this is how I'm going to do it. I rarely do it with other things, but with berries I do this way. This one you have to pull this way back to get the glue down into the base. There we go. And then over here. Okay. And last one right here. Stuck. Okay. So now I've got the berries where I want them. Now I have 3 acorn picks, and the acorn picks, stick my Scarecrow back where I want her. The acorn picks are the same colors as the wreath, so you need to have them backed up by some leaves so that they'll show, but they're a very natural, perky, cute little element. So find a place on your wreath where you feel an acorn would be noticed. You want these to be noticed. So I'm going to put one right here by her rear end. I'm going to put one here maybe. Yeah, I like it right there. And I'll put one right up here, right there. So they'll be noticed there. Now acorns take quite a bit more glue because they're heavy and so they can fall off pretty easily. So what I do here is I put plenty of glue around the stem, poke it in, then I also put glue around there and pull it in place right there. Then after it's dry, I check it to make sure that it's going to be secure. Glue around the stem, poke it in, try to make as much contact with the vines as possible, and then pull it around there as well. And again, this one. Now it takes a while for the glue to dry on these acorns. The very last thing you do is you glue your Scarecrow in. So now people sit on their bottoms. They don't bend like this. Well, maybe some people do, but most people sit on their bottoms. So you need to make sure that when she's sitting, her hips are actually what's in place here, not just bending at the waist. So you'll have her right in here. Make sure that you have her where you like her. And then you put quite a bit of glue right around her bottom, right in there. Lots of glue right in there. Then stick her down and hold her in place, making sure that the glue cools while you're holding it in place. Because you want the glue to cool before you really release her. You want it to stick really well. Now that her rear end is in place, I want to actually glue her leg down so that it is secured really well. So I'm going to put some glue on the wreath and hold her leg down like that so that it stays really, really well. Then you can also glue back here her shoulder. And I like to do that because I want her to be able to face forward. I don't want her to face the inside of the wreath. I want her to face forward like this. So that means a little bit of glue right around her suspender area to hold her in place right there. Oops. To hold her in place right there. Okay, and then push her shoulder in so that her head is pointing forward. Excellent. Okay, the wreath is put together. The only thing left to do is to put a hanger on the back. If you don't have one of the over-the-door wreath hangers, you'll need to put a hanger on the back so that you can hang it on a command hook or a screw or a nail. So what we do is we hold the wreath in the place where we like the position that I want her to be in. So see that? She's kind of lounging. So now I've got my hand right here, and I take the wire hanger and I put it directly above my fingers right there to mark the place. Okay, so it's right there. And then I turn the wreath over and I put it back down on the surface. So now I've got the wreath hanger right there. I pick this up and I move it down into the base of the, or into the body of the wreath. Now I don't have much to hold on to right here. So about halfway through the wreath, you poke your wires in, and it's not easy to do this, but every wreath has a spot that the wires will fit through. And then underneath, you feel it until you can feel it coming through the twigs. There we go. I've got both wires coming through, and I lift the wires up. Now I want the top of this wire hanger to be right at the top or near the top of the actual wreath. And then with my pliers, I bend the wire behind its partner on this side. So I bend it behind the leg of that A, and I twist it down so that it doesn't scratch your door and it doesn't scratch you. Again, now on this other side, twist it around. There you go. So now you have your finished wreath.